Yo, man, welcome back to the channel. We got Teen Last after Battering, Pedophile, you know what I'm saying? Let's get into it.
24. And at HMP Fossway, the world's most high-tech prison, located in Leicester, England, inmate 21-year-old Thierry Robinson has just exited his cell after being let out for the day. He's captured here on CCTV with a huge grin on his face, heading over to his neighbour, 18-year-old Ashiri Smith. After waiting for him momentarily, the pair walked down.
You gotta have to know to have a grin on your face like that. To have a grin on your face? Oh my gosh. To have a grin on your face is crazy. That's how you know they about to do something devious. Have a grin on their face is crazy.
Down the block and head over to the other side to a cell belonging to convicted paedophile Mahir Mohammed. When they re-emerge, there's no sign of Mahir. Now, one might take a look at this and think there's nothing wrong. However, ladies and gentlemen, something serious just went down in Mahir's cell. And if you hadn't guessed it by now, Thierry Robinson and Ashiri Smith had just murdered a paedophile. If you're wondering why HMP Fossway looks more like a hotel than a prison, well, that's because it's classified as Cat C. Prisons in the United Kingdom are ranked in categories, A being the most secure.
Wait, what did he say, yo? Hold on. He said what?
And Ashiri Smith. Look at this and think. When they re-emerge, there's no sign of Mahir. Convicted paedophile. The pair walk down the block and head over to
so did they go into a cell or what? Did they go into a cell? Like, did they go into a cell? I'm trying to. Do you understand? Did they go into a cell or they didn't? I'm kind of
the other
confused.
side to a cell belonging to convicted paedophile Mahir Mohammed. When they re-emerge, there's no sign of Mahir. Now, one might take a look at this and think there's nothing wrong. However,
I think they did because remember, the dude comes out and he takes out like the robe he has on.
Serious just went down in
Mahir's cell. I don't know.
And if you hadn't guessed it by now, Thierry Robinson and Ashiri Smith had just murdered a paedophile.
Look, he comes out and his robe is off, or he takes out unless he has like blood on it, then he takes it out, maybe?
If you're wondering why HMP Fossway looks more like a hotel than a prison, well, that's because it's classified as Cat C. Prisons in the United Kingdom are ranked in categories, A being the most secure, home to some of the country's most dangerous people, all the way through to Category D, which is essentially a big home that prisoners have to live in, instead of going to their actual residence. In a Cat D prison, some of the inmates are allowed to leave to go to work or study, and then return.
Wait, so their prison is different? So their prison is like, you can leave, go to... What? Wait, that's in the UK? You can leave? That's really in the UK? Some of these prisons like this big homes? That's really what it is? You can leave, go to work, but you have to come back? Unless like they have like some type of chip in them or something. Dang. What if I'm being honest, I don't see the US doing that, bro. To where there's different jails and prisons, A being the most secure where you can't leave. And like maybe like if you miss a court date or something like that and you gotta go in for a couple of days and if you have work. They won't do that.
If they prove that they can do that over a period, they're even allowed to spend multiple days out of the prison and stay overnight at an approved address, say with a girlfriend, for example. HMP Fossway isn't quite that. Again, it's a Cat C resettlement prison. In other words, it's a highly secured facility that's designed to prepare inmates for reintegration into society without leaving. It offers certain amenities such as access to a gym facility, five-a-side football pitches, a music studio, computers within the cell, and even offers educational workshops in various sectors. So yeah, that's why some of you
bro, if you ever try to see the US doing this, the US will not do this. I'm sorry. Let's be honest now. Let's be honest now, y'all. The US, you'll probably you probably won't see the U.S. doing this to where the U.S. is actually helping people. Would you see that? No. Not help people, but we will never see jails like this in the U.S. where it's different levels to where some of the prison jails you can get at. We would never see that. You're not gonna see that. You're not gonna see that for sure.
They think it looks like a hotel. I mean, to be
Facts. You know what
fair,
I'm saying?
you wouldn't be by yourself in thinking that way, because when it first opened back in 2023, the prison made headlines for exactly that. Online critics compared it to a luxury hotel. They said, at the bare minimum, it was better than student accommodation. Over the past couple of years, HMP Fossway has gone viral for both positive and negative reasons. On the one hand, you had YouTuber Mr. Who's the Boss dub it the world's highest tech prison, while on the other hand, you had inmates within the prison filming TikTok videos complaining that sex offenders were being put on certain wings where they'd be able to see women and children who were visiting the facility.
What?
This is HMP Fossway. We're on E block at the minute, and we're looking over to F block and the car park. Now, the jail wants to put the nonces on E and F wing, so when people's visitors and children come to visit people, they can see the car park and they'll be stood at the windows doing nasty things to the people's visitors. We want to protest about this. And the visits go straight in where you can see now. It's not good because, like I say, this E and F block look over the car park and we don't want them our kids. It's not fair. They should not get this block and where they can see.
Bro, and they allowed to have... Now, there's some jails that have phones, TVs. But, bro, they allowed to leave the jail, but they need an address. Bro, what? I will never, ever see the United States doing something like that to where there's different jails. Like, depending on what you do, maybe murder or whatever it is, you in the, you know what I'm saying, you in the high-end jails where you can't get out. That will never happen, bro. I promise you. They put everybody in one thing. And some people in jail, prison, for some crimes, I know some people been there is innocent. I know some people in jail, prison around the whole world did not commit crimes. You know what I'm saying? They...
Public,
you know what I'm saying?
Human people coming in. It's an outrage, and it needs a petition that it wants moving down to... They can have A and B block. And people's families that come into the jail, we need to get them to...
Hold on, y'all.
A petition as well, and protest against them because they can't be on the outside fence looking at all the kids and the people coming in. It's not fair.
Yeah, that's weird, bro. That's... I don't like, bro, why do some people like children? They're like people that are 13. Like, bro, what goes on in people's brain? Like, I don't understand how you get like that to where you're trying to go for... And that shit, bro, that shit is some... That's so weird. That is weird. I'm sorry, that is weird. You're a whole grown-ass man, whole grown-ass woman going for children and mostly just minors, bro, what? Y'all motherfuckers deserve jail time, but even worse than that, to be honest. I'm sorry, even worse than jail time. You deserve it. I'm just saying because stuff like this right here, people, it's...
and we're on E block,
bro.
HMP Fossway, Nonce Palace. It's the pedo palace of England, and they want it to make it so they can see us kids from the fence. It's not happening. Please watch this video and please protest against it. Put a petition against it. These nonsense cannot come to the fence.
One of the sex offenders who was mixed in with the inmates was 31-year-old Mahir Mohammed. His image bizarrely hasn't been published, and there's only a small section in the news as to why he even ended up in HMP Fossway to begin with. Mr. Mohammed had been jailed for an online conversation with a girl whom he thought was in her early teens. The girl was a decoy set up to snare pedophiles. The vigilante group behind the snare reported him to the police, and he ended up being jailed at HMP Fossway. For that conviction, he was handed a 35-week prison sentence and was due to be released on August 21st, 2024. So yeah, Mahir had been caught by an online sting group and they know what time
he was what day he was finna get out. Oh yeah, that means they've been plotting on that. That means, I mean, in a way, and murder's not okay, but I mean, they saved it. You know, so they say, I mean, they kind of say the people that he was gonna affect even more, trying to go for children and girls, like early teens. What? They saved him the way. You know what I mean?
Had landed himself in jail.
We don't know what his they stopped him from going out there and do what he's trying to do again, over and over again.
And was like in the jail for the most part, but according to a report, his life had been made a literal living hell in the few weeks leading up to his release. This would have been around the time he crossed paths with his killers, Ishiri and Thierry. Those two, by the way, are infamous in their own right. Yes, the story takes a whole other turn when we come to find out that one of them is a relatively famous and successful UK drill rapper, and the other made national headlines for being extremely brazen with a firearm. Thierry, known by his alias Trills, has been making music for some years. His videos have racked up millions of views. However, he wasn't just a rapper, he was also a drug dealer, and that's how he ended up in HMP Fossway for 5.5 years. It was the circumstances surrounding Ishiri's arrest.
Only 5.5 years. That's light. He got 5.5 years for selling drugs. That's it. Oh, what kind of drug? 5.5 years? That's 5.5 years, gang. That's, I mean, hey, at least he gets to get out.
Back in late 2023, that made news outlets from across the country pick up on his story. He had videoed himself dancing with a loaded gun. For that, he was jailed for 3.5 years in April of 2024. HMP Fossway was where he was going to call home while serving his sentence.
Oh, they recorded it too? The one thing, y'all, I do know about the UK, man, if you showing firearms or if you're doing drug music and you talking about, oh, if I catch them, if I can't wait to catch them, they'll literally arrest you. I didn't know that. And I didn't know that they can take down your music video. If you talk about you gonna catch somebody, you gonna do this to somebody, I heard that they can arrest you for that, and they can take down your video. That's crazy. They can take down your video and you can get arrested for just for saying, if I catch this person, I'm gonna do this to that. That's I never knew that. I never knew that. That's crazy. I never knew that you can go to jail in the UK. You know what I'm saying? For, oh, if I catch this person, I'm gonna do that to him. And they can take down your video? Oh yeah, that's man.
Come to the front door now! With nothing in your hand! Secure! Right, this way. Right, that's your end. Glass everywhere. Get stuff out of here.
Appears to be a Walther self-loading pistol made in Germany. Appears to be a 9mm with a 19 round capacity.
Once Mahir had crossed paths with,
and I heard it's hard to get a weapon in the UK too, like a gun. I heard it's hard because they laws and what they got over there is hard, like really hard.
With the pair, they subjected him to weeks of verbal taunts and physical attacks due to the nature of his offending. On August 19th, 2024, just 2 days before he was due to be released, Ishiri had visited Mahir's cell on 12 different occasions. While there, he verbally insulted him and physically assaulted him. Towards the end of the day, Mahir threw a kettle filled with boiling water through the gap of his cell door, which hit both Ishiri and Thierry. it was a revenge attack. This had been the first time he retaliated. Given the fact he was due to be released on the 21st, he probably thought he'd have been alright for a day. However, according to a report, as the hours went on, he asked to be moved to a different part of the prison as he feared for his life. Reality set in. That move wasn't granted, and well, you know what went down the following morning. At around 7:45 AM on August 20th, 2024, Mahir Mohammed had been
You have we did.
as he feared for his life. Reality set in. That move wasn't granted, and well,
Ooh. Ooh. Man. That's when it happens. This right here is when it happens, y'all. This is where it's finna happen, y'all. This is literally where it's finna happen, y'all. It's like, y'all, stuff like this right here is, man, he probably think he was finna get out, do the same shit he was doing. They got him. They got him. They got him, y'all. You know what I'm saying?
you know what went down the following morning. At around 7:45 AM on August 20th, 2024, Mahir Mohammed had been found unresponsive in his cell by a female prison officer. He had been repeatedly punched, kicked, and stamped.
Wait, they got...
over the course of around 37 seconds. Thierry and Ashiri couldn't appear weak after the kettle attack. It marked Mahir for death. His prediction was correct. He would officially be pronounced dead by paramedics around an hour after the attack. His eventual cause of death was
Oh, they did it right there. That's why I said he changed his he took off the robe he had on.
The investigation was swift, the pair were banged to rights, and eventually they were charged with murder. They surprisingly denied the charges that were placed against them and went on
That's crazy. That is crazy.
trial in the spring of 2025. In the end, Ashiri was found guilty of murder and was sentenced to life imprisonment with the minimum term of 17.5 years, whilst Thierry Robinson was found not guilty of murder but was found guilty of manslaughter and received an 11-year prison sentence.
The dude
Some of you may be sitting there asking yourself, how did
the dude would have been out? He only got 5.5 years, and he just I understand. He only had 5. The rapper only got 5.5 years. He would have been out. And he would have been out, I think, like 3 years, 2 years, like 2026, 2027. He would have been out. Now he ain't getting out.
the convicted paedophile end up on the same wing as normal inmates?
You know what I mean?
More simply put, HMP Fossway, like many other prisons in the United Kingdom, are throwing all inmates in together because we have a prison overcrowding crisis. No, like, literally, within 19 months of HMP Fossway being built, it was 98% full. Both the Conservative and Labour governments have tried to get a grip of the situation, but nothing's really worked. Yes, more prisons are being built, but that takes years, and with a prison population on the rise, it means they just can't keep up. They've got other measures in place as well, like releasing some inmates early. That includes violent sex offenders, by the way, but to no surprise, some people just can't be fixed, and they end up back in jail a short while later. We've all seen that.
He's not wrong, though. People that get out of jail and, you know what I'm saying, when it change, they'll change. But people go out of jail and they're still doing the same thing that they was doing. They're going right back in.
Headlines
Right
recently.
back in.
This further adds to the problem. Regarding sex offenders, Justice Secretary Shabana Mahmood announced that the government plans to introduce chemical castration in 20 prisons across England and Wales to help potentially alleviate this problem. According to reports, inmates within these 20 prisons will be asked first to volunteer. It will be a pathway to release. If all goes well and successful, they then plan to roll it out as a mandatory sentence to again help reduce the prison population. So how does the British government take...
Anyways, man, y'all, that's it, man, for the video, man. Let me know what y'all think down below, man. Let me know what y'all think down below, man. Y'all know what's up, man. I'll see you guys in the next video, man. See you guys, man.